My neighbor refuses to go away, and it's making me crazy.
Hire a magician to make him disappear.
I, 31 female, moved into a new house 2 months ago. I have 3 young kids, which will be very important later. At first, my neighbor, 40-odd female, was very nice and popped in once in a while to see how we were settling in. This was fine. By the name, this comes from the name game, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. I'm Sophia.
I'm Dakota.
I'm Keon.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. So let us know what you would do in the comments. Now, she and her daughter, who is 23, are calling 2 to 3 times a day asking to borrow something or for me to do them a favor. It is never anything huge, but it is really annoying. I have tried not answering the door, but they walk around the house peering into windows until they get the aforementioned children's attention, and they ask the kids to answer the door. I have told them that I am very busy and don't have time, but nothing has changed. I have tried to be nice but firm, but I'm really quiet and non-confrontational. I'm in this house for at least the next 2 years, and I don't want to fight with them. The last straw was today when the mother asked me to mind their dog for today, tonight, and all day tomorrow so she could go out to a party. I said no. I have 2 cats, and they dislike dogs greatly. She came back twice more. I stuck by my feet and refused. She tied the dog to my gate and went to her party. What the heck? Help. How do I nicely make her go away? Edit. Thank you all for answering. I really didn't expect so many responses. You guys are great. I kept the dog inside last night because it wasn't her fault, and I felt guilty leaving it outside. The dog didn't settle at all. I finally got to sleep at 4:30 this morning, so I'm exhausted. I've had enough, and I've decided to have it out with her today. I'm going to tell her that her dog kept me up all night, and the next time she pulls that stunt, she won't see the dog again. I will call the ISPCA, but she doesn't need to know that. I'm also going to tell her that I have had enough of her, and she isn't welcome anymore. If she knocks on my door again, I'll call the police. I will update on her reaction and whether it works or not. On a side note, I'm bloody terrified. And there are some relevant comments. Deleted says, not sure how to make her go away, but in terms of being left with the dog, you should take it to a kennel or a dog sitter and leave her with the bill. It is not okay to leave a pet with someone else when they explicitly said no 3 times, especially when they have a legit reason, as you do. OP says, thank you. I just texted her and said that I was putting the dog outside for the night. She said, no, she could sleep in your bed. What? I'd have to charge says, you text her back and tell her, no, you don't want a dog in your bed or in your house. If she wants it to sleep in a bed, she should not have gone anywhere and left it with someone that said they couldn't take care of it. The dog will be outside when she gets back. You can let the dog stay inside if it's behaved and you feel bad for it, but get up early and tie it outside so she thinks it stayed out all night. I know you don't want to be rude, but stop being her doormat. Tell the kids they are not allowed to open the door for anyone, and there will be punishment if they do. If she asks to borrow things, make a notebook and have her sign for what she borrows. More than one unreturned item means, sorry, you still have that unreturned thing, and I can't let you have anything else until I get it back. She wants to borrow a few eggs. Ask for a cup of sugar. Put up curtains she can't see through, or write notes and tape them in the windows. Please don't peek through my windows. I didn't answer the door because I'm busy. Try back in an hour. If she won't stop calling, answer the phone and give it to the youngest, most unable to speak child, and tell them to talk about whatever they're excited about. My nephew can rattle on about Hot Wheel cars all day. She asks you to help? Sure, I can get that in about 2 weeks. She just comes over to chat and be nosy? Rope her in to whatever task you're working on. Sure, I can talk, but I need to get these clothes folded. Would you mind doing these towels for me while we talk? I texted her back and said she's outside. If you're not home by 10 a.m., I'll leave her outside your house as I have plans and will not be home. I have the kids warned not to open the door. I tried the cleaning plan before I saw her walk up the driveway, so I started vacuuming. She knocked. I ignored it. She walked around the house and got in the back door?
Nah.
She broke into your house?
Nah, that's when I would hear the ch-ch say, who's in my house?
I forgot to lock it, and she stood in the kitchen for 40 minutes as I hoovered the already clean house. When I finished, she was still there, and it was time for me to collect the kids from school. I got my keys, and she asked for a ride to the shop. I said no. It's in the opposite direction from the school. And she got angry. I should point out it's a 10-minute walk to the shop. I left her fuming on my doorstep, where I found her when I came back 30 minutes later. This is the level of crazy we're dealing with. When I'm told to call animal control, Opie says, I'm in Ireland. They work from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. It's almost 7 p.m. here. Looks like I'm stuck with this bloody thing for the night. Genoa85 says, remember that this isn't the dog's fault. Make sure it has water and shelter at least. OP says the dog was taken care of last night. She was inside all night despite my threatening to leave her out. See, I told you I'm a wuss. No, that's a good people thing.
You need to threaten her that you're going to sell her dog.
Yeah, and then don't actually do that with the dog. Be nice to the dog. I finally got to sleep at 5:30 that morning, so when the neighbor, whom I'm calling Mary, rocked up yesterday afternoon to ask for some milk, I was fit to unalive. I had left the dog tied to her gate at 10 a.m. and sent her a text saying the same. She didn't reply or mention it when she knocked at the door. I had locked the front door and warned the kids not to open it. When I opened it, she tried to walk in by me. I didn't say anything but didn't let her in. Mary said, "How is the dog for you? Isn't she a pet?" I told her that no, the dog was not a pet. It had been a nightmare. We had gotten no sleep. She replied that if I had just let the dog sleep under my bed, in my bed under the covers, it would have been fine. She also said that next time I should let her in my bed. I kind of saw red at that point. I don't let my kids sleep in my bed. Never mind a dang dog. I told her there would not be a next time and that if she ever left her dog tied to my gate again, the dog would disappear. She stood silently with her mouth open. I went on to tell her that I was not the type of person to ask for favors from people I didn't know, and I don't expect it to be done to me. I finished by telling her that while I hoped we could continue to get on, she was not welcome in my house, uninvited, or to ask me to do something for her. She stormed off. That was yesterday. I haven't seen her since, but the day is young. Relevant comments. How long will be too long? Well done, you. Just wondering, what did you tell your kids regarding why they shouldn't let her in? There's definitely a lesson to be learned in this experience. OP says, I told them we had a new house rule. Only parents could answer the door, no matter who it was. Another person says, what are some other things they would call you about other than the dog? OP says, milk, sugar, my weighing scales, bread, a cig, a ride to the shops, a stamp to use my washing machine, you name it. She asked for it. But there is an update 2 weeks later. After I had it out with her, she backed off. Big time. For a while. For around a week, she didn't come near me, which was awesome. But she isn't the sharpest tool in the box, so it didn't last long. Last week, she was having a party and came in to invite us. I said no. I should point out that she hadn't spoken to me since I told her that I wouldn't be taking her dog again. So the invitation was completely out of the blue and honestly a bit weird. Anyway, the party was last Friday. She must have tried to call in when I was collecting the kids from school because when I got home, there was a note that said, party starting at 6. Bring kids. Mary. I didn't. The party started and went on and on and on. At 12 o'clock, I went in and asked her to turn the music down. It was blaring into her backyard and my kids' bedrooms around the back of her house. She said, oh, hi, OP, come on in. I told her, no, thank you. Please turn the music down. My kids can't sleep. She didn't. Instead, I suggested that I get the kids and my husband and we all go to the party at midnight. She thought it was a good idea to bring my kids into a house full of wasted strangers. Really? Anyway, I went in twice more to ask her to turn down the music. Then I gave up and called the police. When the cops arrived, they turned it down for about 5 minutes. Long story short, this happened a few times and the music was finally turned off at 4:30. I met her the next day as I was getting into my car. She said, oh, I hope the music didn't bother you last night. I told her, of course it had bothered me. I called into her numerous times and resorted to calling the police. She said, well, I turned it off at 1 o'clock. I said, no, it was 4:30. She said, well, at least it was good music. Anyway, I told her that if it happened again, I would be speaking to her landlord. She hasn't spoken to me since. It seems to be going in cycles. She pushes her luck, gets given out to, sulks for a week or two, and then does it again. We can't afford to move for another year or two, so I'm stuck with the crazy witch for a while. I think that I just need to accept that I have a really horrible, selfish neighbor, and this behavior is just going to continue until I can afford to move. And there is a third update 11 years later. You've since moved.
She moved with you.
Yeah, she followed you. She's like, hi, Opie. You moved country. She's like, hello.
Yeah, why did you move?
Why'd you move? I thought we were having a nice time.
I thought we were best friends forever for all time.
I thought we were like this. I was going through a lot at the time. My kids were young. My husband was back in college, and we were trying to recover from the recession. I think Mary could see I was non-confrontational and in a bad place and thought that I was an easy target. My husband had lost his job and was in college, but was going through a mental health crisis during this time, so I was essentially dealing with it alone while trying to hold everything in my house together. She continued asking for things and trying to call in. I locked the gate and door and stopped opening it if I wasn't expecting someone. She started messaging me. I blocked her. It went like that for a while, and she slowly stopped trying. Occasionally, she'd see me out with the kids and come over to try to get me to do something. or tell me some big drama she was having, presumably to make me feel sorry for her, but I just gray-rocked her. In the meantime, I met a few other neighbors I tend to keep to myself, who told me this was her tactic with anyone new, and most of them didn't speak to her. By the way, you can speak to us if you listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. The cold shoulder eventually worked. It was slow though, but for about a year I had peace. Then she moved out. Well done to the person in the comments who said they'd never met an Irish person who acted like that. She wasn't Irish and went back to her home country. I'm still in that house 15 years later. My husband's much better. My kids are all in college. My new neighbor is lovely. We say a few words to each other when we see each other. And when it was her child's communication, she dropped in cake and wine as there was going to be a party, and she wanted to make sure I didn't mind the noise. There was no noise, I noticed. All's well that ends well. OP, I'm glad your crazy neighbor moved out.
Our neighbors sued us over a fence, so we got petty revenge.
I'm taking your fence.
I grew up on a horse ranch in Colorado. We had a long piece of property, about 80 acres, and we raised Missouri foxtrotters. We had lived there for almost 20 years when some folks bought a strip of property way at the back of our land. By the way, this comes from Use Your Drum, Bubba. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I am Dakota.
I'm Sophia.
I'm Keon.
And we are here to give you good advice, goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we do. If you would do something different, let us know in the comments. It was a strange plot of land, as it was very narrow and was sandwiched between our back fence and a busy country road. We were surprised anyone would buy it, actually, as it forced the house to be pretty close to said road. Well, we never met those new neighbors until one day my dad got a notice from a lawyer telling us that after having surveyed the property lines, our back fence encroached on their property between 3 and 6 inches, depending on the spot along the fence line. These folks had never met us, never introduced themselves, and our first introduction was this legal demand. My father was a salt-of-the-earth kind of guy. Very kind, but also very strong-willed. He called these folks, arranged a meet-up, and tried to talk sense into them. First, did 3 to 6 inches really matter that much? And why had they not come to us to talk it through? He even offered a number of different compromises. These folks were hostile from the get-go. They demanded he move the fence immediately or they would sue. Apparently, the law stated they had to put their house so far away from our fence line, and they wanted to push it as far back from the road as they could when they built it, so they wanted that 6 inches very badly. I still remember when my dad got home from the meeting. He hung his hat up and shook his head when he told my mom in his slow way, "Well, looks like we got the kind of folks for neighbors you don't ever want to have for neighbors." They sued and won, and we were forced to move the fence in 2 weeks. I say we because I was the free slave labor, as all farm kids are in this kind of thing. All that fencing material and the time were a big cost for my family, but we got the work done that late fall. Here's where the fun began. The new neighbors broke ground and built all through the end of winter and into spring. The very next weekend after they had moved into their house, Dad roused me out of the bed, and we took the big truck into town to the lumber yard. I was extremely puzzled as we loaded up a bunch of fencing material and building supplies. We didn't have any big projects that I knew of, and I kept asking him what it was for, but he just told me to wait and see with a devilish smile on his face. We built a pen in a small enclosure very near our back property line, directly behind the neighbor's new shiny house.
I know where this is going.
Oh, I do indeed.
I know where this is going.
You never perturb a man of the land.
No, sir. Don't do it.
That's not a wise decision.
No, it's not.
The next day, one of our farm friends delivered a half dozen pigs to their new home. Dad insisted on feeding those hogs table scraps and all the things that would go in the composter, as well as some good balanced hog feed to keep them healthy. Now, you may not know this, but the smell of pig excrement is directly related to what they eat and their pen conditions. Table scraps make them smell bad. I mean, bad.
Well, don't leave your pigs in like bad condition.
No, it's just that their doo-doo smells bad.
All right.
That's all. It ain't bad conditions. They just got stinky doo-doo.
All right.
I had to drive the four-wheeler back there every day to take care of them, and within a month, halfway to the pen, my eyes would start watering from the smell. When we mucked out the pen with the bobcat, we also made the pile right next to the pen. I can't even imagine how bad the smell was living in that house. The neighbors, of course, freaked out, and again, without ever trying to talk to us, went the legal route. They lost the case, asking to have the pen removed, as the area was zoned agricultural. And my dad had done his homework to make sure he was not breaking any laws or regulations. The pigs were far enough from us and our other neighbors that it didn't bother anyone, but the people he wanted it to bother. Come fall, when winter moved in, we sold the pigs to slaughter, and Dad stacked up a bunch of building supplies next to the pen and let the neighbors know we would be expanding the profitable operation in the spring. He smiled the whole time, speaking in his slow, steady way as they screamed at him.
I'm just imagining me like,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, "Bah, bah, bah, bah," and he's just like,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Well, I hear you, but let me tell you, I sure did enjoy making that money.
Yeah, 6 inches does go a long way, like I said.
It can cause a lot of damage. The new neighbors sold their new house in January when the ground was frozen and the new owners would not smell the pen. As soon as the old neighbors were gone, we tore down the enclosure, spread the nasty stuff on the hayfield, and the new neighbors never had any bad smell come spring. They also were great neighbors and are still lifelong friends. Never mess with a rancher.
heck yeah, love this. Your
Yep.
dad sounds great.
He sounds like a smart fella.
He sounds like a smart fella.
Sounds like a smart fella, and those neighbors, they were fart smellers. Let me tell
Oh
you.
yeah, they were stinky.
Edit. Since I've gotten this question a bunch, this is what my dad proposed to the neighbor after getting the letter to move the fence. But before we ended up in court, he really did want to try to cultivate a good relationship with a new neighbor, even though they started out on such a lousy foot. He offered to sell them 5 acres of land at the back of the property at a super affordable price so they could have a better plot and get well back from the road. Our back fence line was almost 5 acres long, so it would have shaved an acre-long line off. And that was wooded land that was not good pasture land anyway. They were not interested. They had plenty of funds, too, as they were sitting on $1 million payout from selling their home in California, which we knew because they brought it up multiple times in the discussions. Statements like, they had all the money they needed to take us to court if we didn't comply immediately. My dad asked if he could move the fence over time, rather than being hit for the cost all at once. Ranchers are not made of money. We could move the section right behind the proposed building site immediately to help with planning first. They were not willing to do that. All had to be moved immediately. And by the way, I want you to immediately be aware that there are full episodes of stories like this on your favorite podcast platform, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen, just search OK Storytime. And you'll be as happy as a hog with a big bowl of slop.
Happy as a clam. The actual phrase Dakota.
Once we learn how clams talk, I'm sure we'll have a lot of good conversations.
They're like, I'm so happy. Look at me. I'm just a clam. I'm so happy.
A simple life for me, Mr. Clam.
I live in the ocean. Sometimes I see fish. Sometimes I see sharks.
But whenever I see a scallop, boy, it just ruins my whole day.
I hate scallops.
I hate a scallop.
I have massive amounts of prejudice against scallops.
I hate them all. Lastly, my dad was friends with the 2 guys that did the inspections for the county for this kind of stuff. We had built many additions and changes on the ranch over time as well. They were all in the volunteer fire department together. He offered to get everyone together and see what options they had for dealing with the offset issue. The neighbor refused again, demanding the fence be moved immediately. If you see a theme here, so did my dad. There is no pleasing some people, so he let them take us to court. I later found out Dad was using the time to save up some money since he figured he would have to move the fence, and that was expensive, and he hoped maybe the neighbor would not push it that far and come to work with him rather than go through all that cost. I know my dad reached out a couple more times to the neighbor before things went to court too, and there are some comments. Comment 1, as soon as I got to that part about the pigs, I already knew how this story was going to end. Well played, OP's dad. Well played. Comment 2 says, I'd like to think your dad has ruined bacon for them for life, just as an added bonus. And number 3, I can't stand people too childish to talk to their neighbors like adults.
True
and
dat.
that is true and
True
the end
that.
of that story.
Oh boy.
Just
Good
be a
job on your
nice,
dad.
agreeable, look
Yeah.
want a solution instead of a problem.
Literally, just talk to your neighbors, see if you can work it out. Be agreeable. Compromise, man. You gotta
Those-
live there.
Those folks didn't want peace, they want problems always.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what, that is the end of that story and
Sure
the
is.
end of this episode.
Sure is.
So if you love us, make sure you subscribe.
We love you.
And see you tomorrow.
My marriage spiraled in under a year, and now I'm leaving my husband.
Maybe that's what needs to happen.
And we do have a trigger warning for substance use and booze. I, 26 female, have been married to my husband, 31 male, for less than 6 months. We dated for over 5 years before that. I met him during college, which I attended in a different state, about 12 hours from my family. By the way, this comes from Time Animator 7277. And if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. I'm Carly.
I'm Angie.
And we're here to give good advice goofily, but we don't have all the answers. We only know what we would do, so let us know what you would do in the comments. And OP says, I have a couple of extremely toxic family members, but the rest of them I am very close to. And it has been hard being away from them for the almost 10 years since I left for college. In the years I have been away from home, I have not really made any friends. So I have no support system outside of my husband and his family and friends. A few months ago, we agreed to move in with my husband's parents to save up for a home and also to assist with his mother's health condition. She had a massive surgery and has had trouble in the past following doctor's orders. I have been helping with everything from chores and cooking to medication management and appointments. We plan to stay for about a year and then purchase a home nearby. Living with my husband and his family has brought to light some serious communication issues within the family. My husband has no real boundaries when it comes to his family, and it has become clear why he has not been able to achieve any of his goals, mainly home ownership and children, since he is constantly providing logistical and financial support to his parents and adult brother, who struggles with regular use and is constantly enabled by his family. I will give one example. His parents failed to communicate until about 2 weeks before his mother would lose her insurance through her employer because she has yet to return to work. My husband intends to pay for her insurance indefinitely, along with the expenses of her care. He also got upset when I expressed confusion and essentially dared me to voice a problem with this. And he has accused me of not prioritizing his family in the past. So the conversation is over before it starts. I have felt unappreciated, but I did not really complain until I discovered that my husband may have cheated on me. I am not sure of the extent. I found some messages, and he admitted to paying for phone spicy sleep. And I have a bad feeling, but it is about all the evidence I have. Each of these incidents was when he was really wasted. He will not confirm or deny anything in a believable way. He shuts down and gets defensive whenever I try to talk to him. So that kind of gives me my answer. I still feel paranoid and crazy all the time. This made me realize that I would like a stronger support system in order to continue this relationship. I asked if we could move halfway between our families to make the trip to see my family easier on me. To be clear, I gave a timeline of a year or so we could make proper arrangements regarding our jobs, living situation, and of course, his family. He says no because his family needs him and he is unwilling to quit his job. He has a good job and he has worked really hard for the position he's in. I also asked if we could attend couples counseling, but he said no because he does not trust therapists. We have had this conversation multiple times with essentially the same outcome. I do not consider myself to be a stupid person, and I can usually recognize red flags, but clearly not, since this is not who I thought I married. I always thought I could trust my husband, and he would respect my needs, but I am realizing he may not care about me as much as I care about him. He says that he is working on a plan and that he is committed to us staying together, but it does not seem that way. I am looking for jobs near my family, but my finances and everything I owe are wrapped up with this person. And every conversation we have had is unproductive at best and toxic at worst. I have told him more than once that I am thinking about moving by myself since I really need to be close to my family, and he freaks out every time. I am terrified that if I keep pushing, he is going to freak out and I will be homeless without a plan. I know his parents are going to lose it when they find out as well. It is also really hard to apply for jobs because it means that I am giving up on my marriage that I have been super committed to. How do I get him to, at the very least, let me go if he will not compromise, instead of insisting that we will work out and then ignoring the problem? And do I wait for the year to see if things get better or leave as soon as possible? Any advice is appreciated. This has been really hard on me.
I feel like a year is a long time to see things through.
Yeah.
know?
I feel like if you genuinely can't even voice your opinions anymore,
Yeah.
it seems like as soon as you guys got married, everything just like changed. Like he was like,
Yeah.
I have her now. Like I'm
Yeah,
married
exactly.
to her.
Like, got her locked in.
Right.
Yeah, I think if you can't voice your opinions, then the relationship is just kind of over.
Right.
Like, that's like, what are you, a prisoner? Like,
Right.
you can't.
You can't have any thoughts.
Yeah, like, huh? No.
It's a little weird to me.
Yeah, I think, maybe see it through for like a couple months or something if you really want to. If you want things to change, but like it's not going to take a year for things to change that much. Like these are big issues.
Very, very big ones.
Yeah.
We have an edit. I just wanted to clear some things up that I may have misconstrued or overlooked. Our finances are separate except for a few bills. I have a job, I make decent money, and I have savings, a couple thousand, but it is a start. He does what he wants with his money. I do what I want with mine. I do not really care what he does with his money, but when our plan was to save money and move, then I see him giving large amounts to his parents. I get confused why there's no communication. I know I can leave. For a lot of reasons, I do not want to move in with family unless it is an absolute emergency. I would prefer to get a job and an apartment near them, which will take time, at least a few months. I am planning and trying to work up the nerves to leave. I guess my main concern is that he will not address any of these problems. He thinks we are fine, and if I suggest divorce, it is going to be messy, I fear. He thinks our issues are still that she lost trust and she misses her family. I live in a crazy world where we only have problems because I complain. I am trying to confirm if I am doing the right thing and how I can lessen the blow for when the inevitable happens, and he makes this really hard by saying I left him and blindsided him, and essentially throws a tantrum until the bitter end. My father-in-law retired a few months ago. He retired early. I do not know why. No one communicates, and in my opinion, does not hold weight. I know it seems lazy that I am lacking context, but I am just as confused as you are. I'm sorry I did not see any signs before. I was fine with this lifestyle and did not complain until I found out about the possible cheating. That changed my perception. I am also extremely careful about not getting pregnant. We are barely having any spicy sleep anyway after the cheating. We have an update. I am leaving!
Woo!
I was still a little in denial when I first posted, and I'm still doubting myself a lot. But I found the Gram DMs with him messaging a girl on there, flirting and exchanging pictures. I also found messages of him buying substances on numerous occasions.
Wow.
He has also been binge drinking a lot. I found wiener wrappers when we first moved in. We do not use them. And he spent over an hour in VIP with a spicy dancer and danced around telling me what he did with her. Still no direct answer other than nothing. I have a consultation with an attorney this week to see about an annulment. I am not sure if I will be eligible based on the rules in my state, but I'm going to try to go for the quickest option. I have stopped trying to fix the relationship. I asked a few times about the couples counseling again. He still says no. He said that he was trying to make it work between us by finding a way to move. I told him that he will not do it, so just drop the subject and I will get over it. He acknowledged that I will not be happy if we do not move, but he has been a little nicer to me since. He also promised to drink less, and he has not been binge drinking as much. I think he feels that this is adequate to fix the relationship. By the way, I think it would be adequate if you guys listen to full episodes with stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, search up OK Storytime. There's just a little bit left. Final thoughts, Angie.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Glad we're
getting out.
leaving.
Woo!
You found all of these reasons. It's building up. It's finally giving that push. And I'm so happy
Oh
for
my God,
you.
he cheated so much.
So much.
Gross.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we do not talk much at all. I just try to focus on myself. His parents seem to be on to me. I am trying my best to pretend like everything is okay, even though I am doing a worse job lately. I am applying for jobs and should be ready to move in with family back home in a month or so. I plan to have family come down and help me load up and then tell him when I am ready to go. If anyone has any advice on how I can have this conversation with him, that is what I am most scared of, since he has downplayed everything and will continue to do so. This is so hard, and I feel so isolated, but I feel like I am making the right choice, and that is the end of that story.